I just talked with Brother Lee, and he verified some information that I wasn't quite sure about when we left Denver to move to Utah. So I'm probably going to have to do this in 2 phases, phase 1 and phase 2 of the trip, because it's a pretty long story and pretty detailed, I think, and some of it's funny, but some of it's not so funny. I decided we needed to move to Colorado because or to Utah, because I had wanted my kids to come to school over here at BYU if they wanted to. And I didn't want to pay out of state tuition, and I didn't realize I didn't have to do that. But there are all kinds of things involved, and I had prayed about it and wondered what we could do, and then one day I'm vacuuming the living room, and the thought came to me, move to Utah. Okay, so we're going to move to Utah. All we had to be is near an airport so that Dale could fly out to get to his places of work with the internal auditing that he did. And so I started packing up and I came over here with Rosalie, and we were house hunting. And I had a real estate agent over here, and he found this house, and we'd looked at a number of houses. It was a hot summer day, very hot, and nothing had any water. None of the houses that were open that we looked at had running water in them. The water had been turned off, of course. And we were thirsty, and we were hot, and we were tired. And the cherries had just come on, and so we bought a big lug of cherries out of the Palisades area. They were the best cherries you could find. So we're eating cherries. And so we started eating cherries all day because that was the only thing we had to moisten our mouths and make us feel like we had something wet in our mouths. So we ate cherries. We drove up to Salt Lake from here, and her family lived in Ogden, west of Ogden, out toward the lake. Is where we were staying with her mother, with Rosalie's sister, Luana, and her family, Donnie, and so on. And we decided to stop in Salt Lake at this Mexican place that they had a lot of good food from way back when. This is back in the 70s, I guess. 77, I'm not sure, somewhere around there. It's in the summertime. So we go into this restaurant to get something to eat, and of course this is the first time we get some water. Well, guess what? The cherries decided to take effect on us while we were eating, and each one of us would jump up and run to the restroom and then come back, and then the other one would jump up, run to the restroom, and come back, and then we did this through the entire lunch that we were eating. Jump up, run to the restroom. The staff was beginning to wonder what was going on with these 2 ladies who were giggling and laughing and having such a ridiculous time and running to the bathroom so often. They thought we must have been on something or other, which they had no idea we were on, just cherries. Bing cherries, and they were just wonderful. They had been sitting in the seat between us and the car, and we just handful after handful. So we get out of the restaurant finally and drive up to Ogden, and well, now we're pretty empty, but we've got a lot of Rudy Toot-Toots. So we walked in the house, and Luana had made a chocolate cake, sheet cake, And it smelled so good. And then we realized she had flavored it with almond extract, lots of it. This was her almond flavoring phase that she went through. Ruined the cake. So Donnie was there, and she was out walking, running, which she always did. She went out for runs then. And so we ran kind of behind her, a ways behind her. And yeah. Oh dear. It was funny. We're back ways behind her, Rudy tooting as we run down the road, and she's up in front of us laughing her head off. Anyway, to get back to the rest of the story, that was a detour, a little bit of a detour there, you know. To get back to the story, we're back in Denver now. I'm cleaning house, I'm organizing, I'm getting rid of stuff, I'm packing things in boxes, I'm labeling boxes, I'm stacking stuff in the garage so that it can be easily carried out and loaded onto a truck. And I had everything ready by the time we were ready to move, and we got the trucks. Well, the family didn't want us to move. Gary and Vonda lived there at the time, and our cousins, and they didn't want us to leave, and Lee and Emily didn't want us to leave, and Fern and Roger didn't want us to leave. Dave and Jan didn't want us to leave the area. They lived up in Craig, but they didn't want us to leave the area. Who are we going to play games with again? Who are we going to play murder with, you know? If any of you have played murder, you know what I'm talking about. If you haven't, it's a fun game. And some of us played it with broken glasses and had them taped together, and it was really hard to do. But anyway, we rented a truck, a big truck, U-Haul truck, and a trailer that attached to the back of it. A long trailer. We had them loaded, ready to go. Uncle Lee came over, and he said, I strongly advise you, please, don't do that. Use 2 trucks. Just drive 2 trucks. That is going to be hazardous. None of you are really truck drivers with experience in driving tandem like that. So I strongly advise you to just get another truck. So we took his advice and did that. We got another truck. Unloaded the 2 trucks so we could get them proportioned equally, and so on and so forth. Got them loaded again. Cleaned the house, and we're ready to go. I don't have any idea how long I've been talking right now. Well, we'll go for a little bit more, maybe it'll be okay. So now we take off in the trucks. I'm driving the car, and Cindy's in the car with me, with the cat, and I don't know if we had a dog at that time still or not. I can't remember, but if we did, we had the dog in the car with us. And a cat or 2, I don't remember how many cats we had. And we were driving to Orem, Utah, where we had bought the house. Well, we go up the mountain to get through Eisenhower Tunnel, and we have trouble with one of the trucks. It's lurching, and it's not going fast, and you can't get it up to speed, and it's just a mess. So I'm riding behind it, driving behind it in the car, and I have my CD on, or CB, or whatever they were then. You didn't have cell phones. We had a walkie-talkie with the trucks, but that was it. And then I had my CB on to hear other drivers and other truckers. And I had my flashers on, and I heard the people over the announcement of the tunnel. There's a car with the flasher lights on coming up, and then we need to get them stopped and find out what their problem is before they go in the tunnel. So I turned the flashers off. Ooh, I didn't want them to stop us before we got it. So anyway, we limped through the tunnel with that truck. Randall had stopped it and fiddled with it a little bit. We fiddled with it a little bit, and then we took off again. We limped through the tunnel. And we get over the mountain, and we go up to David's to spend the night. We're going to stay with them overnight and then leave the next day. So we go over and get to David's, and we stop, spend the night with them, drive on, get to Maybell, which is about 20, 30 miles from David's place at Craig, and the truck fizzles out. We are in a park now. We've gotten into a park there at Maybell in the shade, and it's hot. There's trees around us, but there's not enough. No stores open. No, it's just a dinky little town. No place to get anything. Well, I guess there's a gas station that has little dinky stuff. Anyway, we have to sit there and wait for someone to come out from somewhere. Maybe the Springs. I'm not sure where the truck came from to fix our truck. Found out it was a faulty fuel pump. Duh. They replaced the fuel pump, and we went on our merry way. Now, we've been there for about 3 hours, I think, something like that. So that gets us into Provo Canyon, which is not the new 2-lane, 4-lane Provo Canyon. It's the old 2-lane narrow road that goes down that canyon. Very close to the river a lot of times, and so on and so forth. So we get into that canyon and take off and go down to get to Orem. Dark, dark canyon. Oh. And I'm between two trucks, driving the car. And all I see in front of me on the back of that U-Haul truck is U-Haul, an adventure in moving. And I decided if I ever saw that again, I was going to throw up. We get through the canyon and find our house that we bought, park the trucks, and get in the car and drive down to Provo and rent a motel for the night. And here I will stop this recording for now and go to the second one in a minute. So I will stop recording and go on in a minute. See ya in section 2.